Next up, Saints travel 315 miles north to Sunderland. It's a 12:30 kickoff at the Stadium. I mean, fair play to anyone who's going to be travelling up there. We don't know too much about them, I guess, Glenn. I mean, we've had some decent wins against them over the years, but I don't think we'll go there and be too afraid, given I think they beat Rotherham 2-1 last week, maybe held Coventry to a draw at the weekend, so they haven't set the league alight.
They seem to be a team in the image of their manager, Tony Mowbray, so it's kind of tough but practical, I'd say, as a team. I haven't seen too much of them, I have to say. I've seen their results, same as everyone else has, and it seems to be very close games. They lost at home to Ipswich on the opening day, and their only other home game was a 2-1 win against Rotherham, who were going to be one of the teams down in the bottom. So, I mean, Sunderland were in the playoffs last year and got knocked out by Luton, I think. So you'd anticipate them being one of the better sides this year. But as Steve told me before the game, I'm not going to claim this as knowledge. They had the lad on loan from Man United last year, Ahmad Diallo, who tore up the league, and they haven't got him this year. So it's a bit like Middlesbrough with losing their best player from last year, and now they're struggling. So I'm not thinking this is the sort of intimidating game that you might have necessarily thought going to Sunderland. So I'm quite confident we can go there and get something out of it.
Are you confident as well, Steve? What have you made of their start?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they evidently don't look as potent as they were last season. They went on a really strong run at the back end of the season to sneak into the playoffs right at the very last minute, thanks to Millwall's collapse at home to Blackburn on the final day. So they properly sneaked in. They weren't really proper contenders as such, I guess, for the vast majority of the season, but they got their act together as a result of key attacking players. So Diallo, as Glenn mentioned, and also the centre forward Ross Stewart, who's out injured at the moment. I think he's probably going to be out for another month or so. And I think without those two, they're just lacking a little bit of a spark up front. Defensively, they seem to be relatively sound, as most Tony Mowbray sides are, I guess, in the Championship. It's when they get up to the top flight that they tend to struggle quite badly. But yeah, Sunderland, they look like they're going to be one of those sides who are hard to beat, but will probably give you a little bit of a chance, especially at home, because big crowd, and there'll be an expectant crowd, and they'll be expecting Sunderland to attack us. They won't want to see their team sit deep like QPR did yesterday and try and play on the counter attack, because they're at home and they think they've got bigger ambitions than that. And I think that pressure brings a lot of difficulty for them, really, because I mean, frankly, they only got promoted out of League One a year ago. So for them to have got into the playoffs was a massive overachievement. But yeah, obviously once you've set that benchmark, you're expected to at least maintain that. But I mean, not everybody can always improve on last season, because otherwise there would never be a top of the league. So I mean, I think that they are the sort of away game that I think will suit us quite nicely, because the fans, as I say, their fans will demand that they attack, and that should leave some holes at the back for us to exploit with our better players.
And you'd imagine, Alfie, there might be a bit more positivity this week with some players coming in this time. If we talked about the negativity ahead of the QPR game, then there might be a little bit of a feel-good factor going into this one at the weekend, all being well.
Yeah, I think, like you say, there will be incomings for sure. Russell Martin said there will be, and I believe him. And if there isn't, I think he'll be very, very disappointed. And I would not really do the manager I want to disappoint right now, because I think the project's going quite well. So I'd want to give him whatever it is he wants if I was in charge. I think the who stays will be even bigger, though. I think if we get to 12:30 on Saturday, and Carl Walker-Peters is still here, Kamaldeen Suleiman is still here, Che Adams is still here, I think it's a really good window. To be fair, I think you would have probably at most hoped for keeping 3 or 4 of the big guns. I think Ward-Prowse, Livramento, Lavia, these guys, you can sort of get over it. Teller was a bit of a surprise. So I think there could be a real good feel factor. The trips to the North East we had last year weren't that good, were they? Looking back, I think sort of got hammered in the league in May. to be fair, Newcastle were a good side, but the Cup semi-final was a disappointing effort. Apart from Che Adams smacking one in for about 30 yards, I thought Nathan Jones probably managed that one. Slightly bizarrely putting James Bree in for his full debut about 24 hours after he'd signed.
Nathan Jones managing things bizarrely. Surely.
Well, there you go. Yeah, who'd have thought? I mean, much maligned.
Is this your the furthest trip north, isn't it, Nicky?
I don't know. Is it? What's further, Middlesbrough or Sunderland?
New Zealand.
Sunderland's further north.
Is it? Well, yeah.
I mean, we did win 4-0 back. Was it 2017 when they finished bottom
with a couple
24 points? Yeah, did Shane Long score as well from memory?
Yeah.
So, we've had some good games against them. Going to get some score predictions from you. I'll start with you, Alfie. Are you going to go with another 2-1?
Yeah, it should be, shouldn't it? Really, but I think that it's a tough one. I've got none right so far. I don't know about you, Glen and Steve. I don't know if I've got a single one right. I've got some results, but no scores.
I think we all predicted a win last week. Ben, to be fair to Ben, said 2-1. So credit where that's due. I don't know. I think we all had us down for a 3-1 win yesterday.
We'll go at 1-1 on this occasion. I think it's a long way to go, and I think if you get out there with a point, I think you probably take that at the start we've had.
Okay, Glenn.
I think we'll still carry on being optimistic. Sunderland games are quite close. Usual logic, we haven't got a clean sheet in us still. So I'll go for a 2-1 win. Okay,
and Steve?
Unfortunately, I'm going to go for the same score as Glenn for basically the same reasons. If we can't keep a clean sheet against QPR, then we're not going to keep a clean sheet against a somewhat better team. So, but as we've seen, we've found ways to score goals in every game so far, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So 2-1 win.